When the sun sets over the savannas of Africa, for many, a dangerous time begins. This nocturnal drama between hunters and the hunted has remained unknown to most of us. Cutting-edge thermal cameras now reveal what has remained hidden for so long. In the darkness, a contest of the senses begins, a matter of life or death. Is the night really so beneficial for predators? Or is hunting just as difficult then as it is by day? In any case, competition between them is merciless. The Masai Mara in Kenya. A landscape that characterizes Africa's diversity, one of the most species-rich regions of the continent. The reserve is one of the last places on Earth in which 4 large predators live side by side. This is only possible due to the abundance of prey here. There are more than enough typical animals of the savanna within the protected area. Similar to the herbivores, the carnivores have become significantly specialized. Leopards prefer bushland. It provides them with sufficient cover, enabling them to stalk their prey unnoticed, whether at night or by day. Cheetahs, on the other hand, will only hunt during the day. Usually, they target their prey from long distances. The decisive factor is an unhampered view. When it comes to a sprint, they have to be able to recognize any obstacles in their way. Dinner, and about time too. It's getting late. While cheetahs avoid darkness, most other hunters are active both night and day. It's slowly cooling down. The large lion family is waiting impatiently for the twilight. The offspring, almost fully grown, are extremely hungry. The 3 mothers have to provide food around the clock to keep all 7 bellies full. The males keep back discreetly. They mostly let the females work for them. They rarely travel together as a pride. Especially females with smaller offspring prefer to roam alone in their territories. The lioness makes herself rare, with her little ones in tow. What does the night have in store for her? One final breather before the darkness demands full concentration. The group of large predators is made complete by spotted hyenas. These are the most numerous hunters in the Mara area and are mostly nocturnal. Hundreds of young and hungry carnivores hope for a highly productive night, that their mothers return in the best of health and continue to provide lots of milk. The hippos are also waiting for night to fall. Their stomachs are rumbling too. Twilight, so close to the equator, is short. The lions will soon be hardly recognizable with a normal camera. But the cats can see the buffalo all the better. The cocky offspring can't resist provoking the old bull, but they lack in experience and strength for a serious attack. He reacts annoyed. The young lions are enjoying themselves. One can soon only guess what is actually happening. In the darkness, a thermal camera is required to make events visible. The heat radiation of the animals draws an image of them, just as visible light does. Warmer body parts appear especially bright. The landscape has also stored the warmth of the sun and radiates eerily. The hippos are behind time and now need to leave if they want to graze. The warm water seemingly makes their bodies glow. The youngsters of the pack enjoy the coolness of the evening. Activity like this is rare during the daytime heat. Once again, the old buffalo shows exactly what he thinks of it all. But the message has obviously made little impact. The hippos appear to attract the interest of the adolescents too. On land, hippos have long been considered loners. Thermal imaging proves that this is not always the case, but groups of this size are nonetheless rare. Almost all of them have wounds or scars which appear as bright spots in the thermal image. Out here, there are hardly any disputes among themselves. It's not worth fighting over a few blades of grass. The young lions have already discovered what it is like with them. The thick-skinned animals have never enjoyed a good game or get-together. Tonight appears to be no exception to the rule. The tumult has alarmed animals from far and wide. For the foreseeable future, there are hardly any prospects of good hunting here. The pride has to move on in the hope of finding unsuspecting prey somewhere in the darkness. The seven are a heavy burden for the females. They are always hungry and constantly in a playful mood, which thwarts many a hunting attempt. At around 8 in the evening, it is pitch dark. Now, beneath the stars, animals appear that were practically invisible during the day. Aardvarks, for instance, that now set off to find termite mounds. Or spring hares that remind us of small kangaroos. The rodents, which are not related to Australian marsupials, live in colonies with extensive underground burrows. Caution is vital when jackals show up. They can jump extremely far considering their size, and they are incredibly fast. This young leopard male wouldn't say no to a little snack either. Unfortunately, hares are no less nimble than spring hares. But eventually, he finds success in the tall grass. In this part of the Masai Mara, 6 lion males rule over a huge territory, but they are very rarely found together. The leopard should keep his distance. He can't actually see the lions, but the wind carries their scent to him. The 3 are totally unaware of his presence. In the weak starlight, even sensitive cat's eyes can see little in the long shadows of the bushes. Those that at first sense sound or smell have the advantage. The males patrol along a particularly vulnerable flank of their territory, at a creek covered in dense undergrowth. It's ideal territory for a leopard, and he knows just how to move around here. He effortlessly outmaneuvers his massive competitors and then disappears into the scrub. When they notice his tracks, he will be miles away. They all pay particular attention to signs of non-local lions and check for suspicious traces of intruders. Everything seems okay. They mark their territory as a deterrent and give their brothers the all clear. All okay here? How about you? The 6 males are a force to be reckoned with, and they demonstrate this every night. For all lions foreign to these parts, the nightly roaring orgies, audible from miles away, are a clear signal. Keep your distance. The 2 neighboring males are far away. Their territory is much smaller, but the message to their rivals is that much clearer. zebras find the roaring quite useful. After all, it betrays the whereabouts of the enemy. The lioness with the two cubs, on the other hand, finds it reassuring. Her protectors are close by. The family has settled in a shallow valley. The experienced lioness knows that zebra herds often cross a small stream here. She can only guess the position of the herd, but she knows the terrain well. The thermal camera shows us more than the animals can see. It's pitch dark, and the huntress has to rely entirely on her hearing. The sounds of the hooves cover her own movements. She can cast all caution to the wind. Shrouded in darkness, she gets into position within seconds. The zebras are unaware until the end. This time, in the darkness, the advantage was definitely with the huntress, but the struggle for life and death doesn't always go well for the attacker. This night, however, she managed to get the job done. With full bellies, her offspring will be comfortable during the cold and long hours of the African night. It's way past midnight, and the temperature has dropped dramatically. The 7 young lions are no longer interested in playing. Huddled up tight together, they seek mutual warmth. At last, their mothers can now go hunting undisturbed. The cat's ability to see at night is legendary. But first and foremost, they have to rely on their just as brilliant hearing in the almost complete darkness. The humid night air carries sound especially well. They become alerted to the sound of distant hooves. In the blackness, the hunters can move around freely without serious precautionary measures. 2 lionesses remain behind, while the third attempts to reach the other side of the zebra herd. She doesn't seem to have noticed the individual zebras ahead of the herd during their maneuver. Day and night active animals have a reflective layer behind the retina that doubles the light yield of the eyes. This applies both to cats and ungulates. The evolutionary arms race has created a draw. At night, lions can see roughly 6 times better than humans. This doesn't really mean much in starlight, unfortunately. All involved appear to be literally in the dark. Several topis have joined the zebras. Their senses are particularly keen. They notice the lion first. The attacker initially follows the sound of the fast antelope's hooves. But the heavy zebras betray their presence. She immediately changes direction. The zebras have been warned. The small group anxiously listens. They seem not to have grasped the situation, nor has the lioness. She attacks a second time after hearing the sound of hooves. Now it's all down to the waiting two lionesses. The ambush works, but catching a zebra in the dark and at full speed is not the easiest task. The group escapes. They have to continue their search. Not far away, they soon hear promising sounds. Hyenas have spotted newborn calves in a herd of buffalo. There might be something in it for them. The herd has left a cow behind with her calf. But she is not really alone. All the buffaloes in the herd are closely related and stand by one another. The strong bulls are the most dangerous. The attackers have to be very careful in the dark so as not to be trampled on or pierced by their horns. The lionesses don't fare any better than the hyenas. Gradually, ever more defenders from the herd arrive. The calf is carefully shielded, with individual cows keeping the attackers at bay. The defense is akin to a fortress. No chance for the lionesses, unless they were willing to take huge risks. But this night, the herd has no losses to mourn. However, the hyenas remain persistent. Who knows? Perhaps as the clock ticks by, they will become a little less attentive. It was a successful night for the lioness with the two cubs. The little family enjoys the warming morning sun with their bellies full. The large family, on the other hand, is still hungry. There is no peace for the mother of the pack. Lions are extremely dangerous hunters by night and by day. They don't necessarily need the protection darkness provides. Still, in the open savanna, it's not easy. But the big cats are nonetheless patient. There's certain to be a chance at some point. The seven simply trust in their mothers. The impalas appear preoccupied with their breakfast. Perhaps there's a chance here. But the nimble antelopes have calculated the safety distance to the bushes well. No chance for the lioness. It's still relatively cool, and despite the long night, the females are obliged to stay put. The lioness gives her all, yet still remains empty-handed. It's now getting warmer fast. Too warm for exhausting hunts. This, at least, provides a brief respite for the herbivores. Wherever possible, everyone retreats to the shade. This is difficult for the massive buffaloes, yet their large body mass prevents them from heating up as much as some. The proximity of the herd forces the lionesses and their offspring to leave their resting place. Lions and buffaloes are mortal enemies, especially when younger animals are involved. Buffaloes attempt to kill lion cubs at any given opportunity. Mothers have to remove their offspring from the danger zone as soon as they can. The bull hesitates. The lion mothers cannot afford to make any mistakes now. Just a few hundred meters further, and they feel safe again. The cubs were oblivious to the danger they were in. As long as they have their mother with them, all is well. The older ones are angry. Lions don't like being pushed around, especially not in the midday heat. Late afternoon, an idyllic savanna in the Masai Mara. But close by is a completely different world. Masai settlements have recently been set up on the border of the reserve. The dense coexistence of humans, cows and antelopes doesn't appear to be a problem for the grazers. Lions, on the other hand, are anything but welcome. Thanks to their way of life, hidden from sight, leopards are rarely caught in the crossfire. The female has stowed away the rest of her prey on an acacia, out of the reach of any scavengers. The leopard female waits for darkness to fall. Her son lies in the bushes, well hidden, making him safe during the day. The day's heat has evaporated a lot of water. As is so often the case, thunderstorms begin to develop in the evening. Some find the cold downpour irritating, but the rain forms the basis for the lush pastures in the Masai Mara Reserve that help feed countless herbivores. These, in turn, supply the unusually large number of predators. Only a few African national parks offer such good conditions. Fertile regions are the first areas to be densely populated, but only rarely be protected in time. The rain moves on after just a few minutes. The heat of the day has now passed. It's soon time to say goodnight to the little ones. Their mother is repeatedly drawn to the surroundings of the settlements. The large number of lions in the reserve are a constant threat to the herbivores, especially during the night. But most cats don't feel really comfortable so close to the villages, as they fear humans. Zebras and antelopes soon became aware of this and now edge closer to the houses after dark. The predators seldom dare to follow them here. On many evenings, the lioness with the two youngsters attempts to cut them off. Today, the rain has ruined her plans. The zebras are early and are already within sight of the houses. The lioness dares go no further. The zebras are already safe, for the time being. Traditionally, the Maasai are nomadic herdsmen, but they are permanently settled in the Masai Mara, where their livestock has grown enormously. The thunderstorm has passed over, but continues to rage. Barely stopped raining as the little leopard finally reaches his mother's pantry. Now it's almost dark, and we once again follow the animals with the thermal camera. The smell of meat has attracted a hyena. However, hyenas can't climb as their claws are blunt. The leopardess and her offspring remain undisturbed at dinner. They don't have to fear competitors on lofty heights like here. It's still raining lightly at the hyena den. Everything is wet and cold. Just the cave entrance glows a little, due to the warmth of the young animals that have retreated here. Just a few hyenas are still at the cave to keep an eye on their offspring. Most of the others are scattered around the area on the lookout for prey, or at least carrion. The carcass leftovers with the leopards on the tree can still be smelt over a wide area and keeps attracting new hyenas. But they soon assess the futility of the situation and move on. The small leopard is a little inept and nibbles through the silken tether from which the prey is hanging. When the mother realizes that the hyena has long since left, she can take her time. And this time, she chooses a different trunk to anchor the carcass more securely. The night shift begins for the two lionesses who had to give way to the buffaloes during the day. Of course, the little ones are in no mood to go to bed just yet, but the females must soon go off on the hunt. The thunderstorm now moves on into the distance. And then it's over at last. One of the lightning bolts has started a fire. The flames pose no threat to the hyenas. On the contrary, they attract them. The hyenas hope for a few small barbecued animals, unable to escape the inferno. How frustrating. Not a morsel to be found. The two lionesses prepare for the night shift. Yet they are hesitant. They sense danger. Beneath the firmament, strange stars sparkle on the horizon. But they are lamps designed to keep predators away from cattle. While humans try to prevent any visits from wild animals, they themselves massively penetrate the realms of wildlife. The thermal camera illustrates what happens each night in the north of the reserve. Around 40,000 cows are driven into the protected area. In Kenya, they have a market value of roughly $12 million US. This has nothing to do with the poor shepherd's struggle for survival. Everyone knows that this is illegal. Cattle owners, park management, local politicians. Every week, rangers confiscate a few cows and release them after payment of a modest fine. For the owners, cheap pasture. For local politicians, guaranteed re-election. For cows and lions, however, a fatal situation. The torches and the calls unsettle the cats. They would usually never dare to approach humans. But when such encounters take place in the bush, they almost certainly attack. Every year, more than 300 cows are killed by lions in the Masai Mara. In retaliation, the lions are slain by means of spears or poison. It's a fight that the lions cannot win, and one that is hardly perceived in public. It all takes place under cover of darkness, in Kenya's most economically significant park, and one of African tourism's most popular destinations. It's 3 in the morning. The two mothers have left their offspring behind. Here, the savannah has been grazed completely bare by the cows. The lionesses find hardly any cover. Their potential prey groups together for protection. The two huntresses keep trying to sandwich such groups to be able to surprise them from two sides. This is anything but simple in the open terrain, especially as they can hardly coordinate action. Hours of frustrating hunting attempts which repeatedly fail because of the vigilance of the gazelles. These, of course, can see as well as cats at night. Even at night, no one gets any presents, not even lions. The moon rises at around 4 o'clock. This alters the visibility for all and sundry, and not necessarily in favor of the hunters. The young Thompson gazelle has no trouble noticing the two lions in time. Some hyenas are already returning to their dens. They are not interested in the fast impalas. exhausted, the hunters of the darkness return to their young or search for a shady place to spend the day. For the herbivores, no reason to lay back and relax. The fight for life or death between herbivores and carnivores goes into the next round. You win some, you lose some. Leopards have perfected the art of ambush and manage well almost everywhere. The lions are a different matter. How many young of the extended family will survive? And just how many are doomed to starve? One thing is certain. The victors more often have horns and hooves than they do fangs and claws. Only as long as human beings allow wild animals enough room and food, the race will continue. A race that over the years has shaped both the hunters and the hunted, for which we today have so much admiration.